be recognized for a moment of personal privilege?
You're recognized.
Thank you, sir. So, this weekend, I was sent a video from a constituent of something in my district that's got me a little troubled. And it has to do with a project that I'm very much in favor of, but that we're having some problems with, in my opinion. It deals with the disposal of dredge material from the ship channel. Project's great. We've worked hard on the project, worked hard to get the project funded, but some of the disposal practices leave me with some concern. Many of you have been to the Grand Hotel for conferences. So a video I saw this weekend had the disposal of some dredge material from the ship channel being discharged in open water right off of Point Clear in my district. And I posted it on my Facebook page, and I was really surprised that as of right now, it has 169,953 views. That's just since this weekend. Because the people in my district are very concerned about water quality, they're very concerned about sea life, and they're very concerned about, frankly, the mud that's being dredged from the ship channel being disposed right there off of Point Clear in open water, and what that's doing to our environment. And so I have started to really dig into this issue and explore this issue more. Make no mistake about it, I am a big fan of the port. I am a big fan of our industry in Mobile, and I am a big fan of what the port does for our entire state. But I do think there is a better way to dispose of this dredge material. And those better ways are upland disposal, where that material can be dewatered and used for some beneficial purpose. In the past, we've built entire islands in Mobile Bay to house this dredge material, because as most of you are aware, all of our river systems in Alabama, the vast majority of them drain right there into Mobile Bay, and there's a tremendous amount of sediment that is associated with that. And so as that sediment moves down the river, it settles into the bay and it settles into this ship channel, and so this ship channel requires periodic dredging. We just have got to get a better way of dealing with the dredge material. And it can't simply be disposing of it in open water so that it then causes turbidity in the water, and so that it then impacts submerged aquatic vegetation, that it impacts shellfish, that it impacts other marine life in Mobile Bay. Our water quality is a big part of the giant tourism industry that is so important to Alabama and Alabama's budgets. And so, Mr. President, I want to make sure that we find a balance. And unfortunately, I don't think that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers has found an acceptable balance. I think that the disposal of this material could very much impact not just the environment, but our tourism revenues. I don't think you'll find a bigger advocate for economic development, and certainly I wouldn't classify myself as an environmentalist, but I am a conservationist. I enjoy fishing. My son enjoys fishing. We catch crabs, we catch shrimp, we eat the oysters. Many of my constituents do as well, and I am concerned. I am concerned about seeing a dredge spoil pipe, essentially, casting out into open water spoil material. And it's just shooting there out on top of the water, and then it floats down, and the idea is that it is thinly dispersed along the bay bottom. And so my frustration is, if we do that wrong, we could really impact the sea life there, and we are impacting it. I mean, there's no way you can look at that video and not see that and go, this is probably not a good idea. And so I find myself in an awkward position where I am trying to balance what I know is good for the port, for Alabama's port, what I know is good for Mobile, what I know is good for industry, and what's good for our environment. And so I'm going to continue to bring this issue to light. I'm going to continue to work with our federal partners in DC to see if we can figure out a way to do this better. To do this better for Mobile Bay, to do this better for Fairhope and Daphne, for Magnolia Springs, for Fort Morgan, for Weeks Bay and Bon Secour. I know that my colleagues across the Bay have concerns as well about water quality. Many of y'all have been fishing with me. You've been fishing out on the University of South Alabama's boat before, and you've seen the bay. It was never a clear bay, don't get me wrong. It didn't ever look like the Bahamas. It's never gonna look like that. It's not gonna be that gin clear water everybody talks about, mainly because of the rivering system we have in the ecosystem. That's okay. I don't want to add to that problem. I worry about the siltation. I worry about how we're disposing of this, and I worry about the impact to sea life. And so I think the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers needs to move as quickly as possible to find and to approve beneficial use projects where we can use some of this sediment. You know, I think some of the argument has been that we don't have any place to put this sediment that's permitted. Well, that's kind of which comes first, the chicken or the egg. Let's see if we can get some of these beneficial use projects permitted, and then maybe we'll have a place to put some of this material. Instead of simply saying we don't have anything permitted, well, of course we don't. You won't approve permit. And so there are a lot of organizations that are doing good work along and in Mobile Bay. You've got the Mobile Bay National Estuary Program, which I think a lot of. I've worked with for well over a decade to do all kinds of projects to improve water quality in the area. You have the Mobile Bay Keepers, who are a fantastic organization. Haven't always agreed with them, probably won't agree with them in the future. But they do good work at shining a light on some things that sometimes we need to focus a little bit more on. You have all the folks that work at the University of South Alabama in the Stowe School of Marine Science. And you have the Dauphin Island Sea Lab that does good work watching and monitoring water quality. And so my goal is to try to see if we can bring all of those organizations together along with the Corps of Engineers, get some of these beneficial use projects approved that need this spoil material so that we can restore some wetlands, so that we can build some living shorelines, and so that we can use this material in a way that benefits the environment and hardens our shorelines against future storm damage, as opposed to just disposing of it in open water, which cannot be the best solution. So to my colleagues, I would encourage you to go and see if you think what you're seeing in a video of this mud spewing out into the open part of Mobile Bay is a good idea right there off of Point Clear. If that's a good idea or not, I think not. I think that video, it spoke to me. I showed it to my 13-year-old son, and I know a lot of y'all have gotten to watch him fish and come up, and I told him, I asked him, what do you think of this? He said, I'm sure glad that's not out in front of our house, Dad. It's an emotional issue to a lot of people because it hits them right in a special place. That bay is special. That water is special. The quality of that water, the fish, the time we spend with our kids is important. And if we can't catch fish, if we can't eat the fish, if the water quality is poor, if we kill the submerged aquatic vegetation, we can't eat the shellfish. If the oystermen go out of business, that's not good. It's not good for Alabama's economy. It's not good for our environment. It's not good for tourism. It's not good for the people that live along, that make their living in the bay. And so we're going to have to find a compromise. We're going to have to find a better way to use this spoil material in a beneficial manner, and we're going to have to make sure that our federal partners increase funding for this project so that we can dispose of this material properly, so that the much-needed dredging of the ship channel can continue, so that we can continue to be an economic driver for the entire state, but to do so in a manner that does not harm our environment, do irreparable harm to our environment. And so that's that's my plea to our federal colleagues, is to let's do this right. Let's find a way to make sure that this gets done right and in a manner that preserves our environment. I want to make sure that for generations to come, our children have the ability to fish. Our children have the ability to swim. Our children have the ability to enjoy that waterway. You know, I heard very disconcertingly a comment that said, well, the bay's already dead. Why bother? And that was kind of shocking to me. Why bother? We've already ruined it. Why bother? And I think we owe it to ourselves. We owe it to our children. We owe it to the next generation to do better. Certainly there have been mistakes in the past. Certainly the Corps engineers presided over some of those mistakes. But we can do this better. We absolutely can, and we should. And so I'll be traveling to D.C. next month. I'm going to talk with my federal colleagues up there. We're going to work on some additional funding, I hope. But more importantly, I want to make sure that the Corps of Engineers moves forward with some of these permitting practices. Their permitting is abysmally slow. And it is, in my mind, part of the problem. And so I am hopeful that we can continue to work with them to move some of these permits forward, find uses for this dredge material, to get this material in a proper place where we can realize dual goals of keeping the ship channel dredged, keeping the economy open for business, but that includes the economy that is based on our environment. It includes the bays being in good shape ecologically. And there's nothing about that video and that dredge disposal method that says, hey, this is a good idea. There's nothing that says, this looks like a good idea. Mr. President.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, Senator Gutcher.